I was 2 years behind where I should have been in my business, not because I lacked ambition or vision, but because my brain was literally the barrier to my own success. I had the ideas, the drive, the potential that everyone kept telling me about. But I couldn't actualize any of it because my brain was refusing to cooperate. That's when I discovered a single hack that changed everything for me. It takes less than 10 minutes each evening to do. Today, I'm going to reveal the exact hack that completely transformed my business. I'll show you how it actually works in the 3 simple stages that you use, and I'll show you why this simple system works when everything else that you've tried has failed. First, I need to address the question that you're probably asking right now. Can I really do this if I've failed every other system that I've tried to use? And look, I get it. You tried everything. Those fancy planners that cost a fucking fortune. Digital apps like Notion that just overwhelm your brain. Complex morning routines that are asking you to get up at 5 a.m. Evening routines where you need to pretend to be a monk. And you've abandoned every single one. Here's what I need you to understand. That wasn't a failure of discipline. That was a failure of design. Every system that you've likely tried in the past is designed for what I call a farmer brain, whose executive function works differently to ours. And to help you with this, think of your executive function as the air traffic controller of your brain. In a neurotypical brain, there are usually 5 planes that are circling in the sky, and they will land each one in order of priority. But in a hunter brain, there are 50 planes circling at once. None of them has clearance to land. They're all radioing in, screaming that they're the most important one and they need to land next. And your air traffic controller is trying to manage them all simultaneously, whilst having a coffee, whilst making phone calls, and whilst trying not to lose his shit. So hopefully that paints a vivid picture as to what the executive function is like for a brain type like mine and yours. And those other systems that you previously used assumed that you were able to organize and prioritize internally. But you can't, because your brain works differently. But this hack I'm about to show you is different because it's specifically designed for a brain like yours. It externalizes the thinking process so you don't have to do it all in your head. And that changes everything. Now, before I show you this hack, you need to understand your specific brain type, because the way that you implement this is going to change depending on your unique wiring. And that's why I created the brain type assessment to help you with this. Don't worry, it's completely free. You'll get a full breakdown of your strengths, your challenges, and the way that you can leverage your unique wiring so that it can become your competitive advantage inside of your business. Plus, you're going to receive daily insights for the next 30 days showing you how you can utilize your specific brain type for success inside of your business. The link to that is in the description. Go grab it now before you forget, because I know what you like, and then come back so I can show you the 3 stages to the daily debrief. So, as I've said countless times already, this hack is called the daily debrief, and it only takes you 5 to 10 minutes each evening to complete. It has 3 simple stages. Stage 1, your wins. Stage 2, a brain dump. And stage 3, a kill list. Now, before I break down how each one of these stages work, let me explain why this is so powerful. There is a saying that I absolutely love, and it goes like this: it's hard to read the label when you're inside the bottle. And that's exactly what's happening in your brain every single day. You're inside of the bottle, drowning in tasks, ideas, decisions that you've got to make, and overwhelm. And this protocol that I'm going to show you gets you outside of the bottle. It externalizes your thinking. Picture it like this. If I gave you a complicated maths equation, you likely wouldn't try and figure it out in your head, unless you've got some Rain Man type skills. So instead, you'd grab a pen and paper, because externalizing the equation is going to make it easier for you to solve. Now, your business is 1,000 complicated equations that all needs to be solved at the same time. Yet you're trying to solve them all inside of your own head. That is why you feel like you're constantly overwhelmed and constantly drowning. The daily debrief helps you to take those equations out of your head and put them onto paper, where you can actually see them, organize them, and solve them. Because for many of you in business, the more problems that you're able to solve, the quicker you're able to grow, and the more money you're able to earn. Now, let me show you exactly how each stage works. Stage 1, write down your wins for the day. This helps to battle against the negativity bias that we all have within us. Your brain is wired to focus on what went wrong, what you didn't finish, what you messed up. And for those of us with a hunter brain, this becomes even more prevalent. But that's a conversation for another time. By forcing yourself to write down the wins of the day, you're also giving your brain the dopamine that it so desperately needs. They don't have to be massive wins either. Something as simple as, I had a great call earlier. I signed up a new client. I didn't play with my Corey today. Ultimately, whatever made today feel like progress. And this isn't just feel-good motivation and all that shit. This is literally your brain's chemistry. A brain type like yours is starving for dopamine. And recognizing wins gives you that hit that it so desperately craves so that we can continue with momentum and do more of the same. Stage 2, open reflection and a brain dump. In my opinion, this is where the magic happens. You get everything out of your head and onto paper. All 50 planes that are circling in your mind, land them on the page. You don't need to organize it, don't judge it. Just make sure that you get it out. And if you find this difficult, which you likely will for the first time doing it, I highly recommend using prompts, and here are some that you can use. How do I feel today has gone? What's the biggest challenge that I'm facing right now? What's on my mind that I can't let go of? The goal in this section is to empty your brain. Once it's on paper, it stops trying to scream at you from inside of your own head. Stage 3, create tomorrow's kill list. Now, this is truly a game changer. Write down 1 to 3 tasks that are actually going to move your business forward tomorrow. And I'm not talking about busy work. I'm talking about shit that's actually going to move the needle. For example, mine tomorrow is this: record a workshop for my clients, create this week's newsletter, write another chapter of my book. You'll notice that it's not catch up on emails, make some more content, work on the website. They are fluffy and shit. Avoid those. Make sure that they are tangible. They're things that you can either put a cross or a tick next to, and you will know whether you have completed them or not. And also make sure that they're things that are actually going to move your business forward, so you stop staying busy in the busy work. And here is why this is so powerful. You wake up tomorrow with zero ambiguity as to where your time needs to be spent, which for those of us with hunter brains is so fucking important, because abstraction and ambiguity only leads to procrastination and paralysis. So this means no decision fatigue, no scrolling through your task list, wondering which one you need to crack on with first. You can dive straight into the work that matters, one task at a time. So why does the daily debrief actually succeed where every other system ultimately fails? Well, to help explain, let me tell you about my client, Ewan. Ewan runs an agency, and when we first started working together, he told me that he felt like he was 2 years behind where he should have actually been with his business. He would struggle to go to sleep every night because his brain was racing with different ideas that he wanted to implement tomorrow. But by the time the morning came, he would have forgotten half of them. And then by the afternoon, he was paralyzed trying to figure out which one he should start next. So he did what most of us would do. He spent a couple of hours scrolling his phone instead. And here's a perfect live example that captures the essence of what Ewan was experiencing, and likely you too. Before we'd worked together, Ewan was working on his website for 12 months. He'd start, get overwhelmed, and then abandon it. He'd come out with a new idea. He'd start over, and then get stuck again. Now the website has become almost symbolic of how Ewan was feeling and how this was affecting him and his business at that point in time. All of this potential that was never actualized, because none of it ever went to the market due to a lack of execution. He described it like constantly having too many browser tabs open inside of his mind. Ultimately, everything felt urgent, but nothing got finished. And he tried every system that you've probably tried. Those fancy fucking planners that cost a fortune that just sit there collecting dust on the side. Productivity apps that he'd spend hours getting set up and then never use again. Morning routines that felt like torture. Ultimately, nothing stuck. Then we started working together, and he implemented the daily debrief immediately. And then something remarkable happened. 2 weeks later, he had a completely new website, launched and live. He spent 12 months of spinning his wheels. And within 2 weeks of just using the system, he had finally got his website live. So what was the difference? Well, he didn't become more disciplined overnight. Every evening, he would brain dump his swirling thoughts. He'd get them out of his head and onto paper. Then he'd create his kill list for the next day, breaking everything down. Write the homepage copy, sort out the color scheme, record the VSL, one task at a time. And this gave him the clarity that he needed to slowly start chunking down this big goal and get momentum that he needed. Every morning, he would wake up knowing exactly where he needed to be spending his time. And like I said, not because he'd suddenly become more disciplined, but because he'd removed his brain as the bottleneck. And here's why a daily debrief was different to every other system that he previously tried. Daily debrief has the least amount of friction of any system that I've created. You can do it anywhere. All you need is a notebook that you can carry with you. No apps to open, nothing to charge, no rigid frameworks that you need to remember, fancy leather journals, pen, paper, and 10 minutes. That's why it sticks when nothing else does. 8 weeks after implementing this system, Ewan told me that he'd made more money than the previous 8 months combined. The website was live, his VSL was recorded, the clients were flowing. And for the first time in 2 years, he finally felt like he was catching up with that place that he knew that he should be. Now, let me remove all friction for you and show you how you can implement this tonight. Grab a notebook. No, not a fancy one. Just something that you can carry around with you. And by the way, here's the mistake that most people make at this point. They try and make it perfect. They think, I need to buy the perfect journal, one that looks pretty, that I know I'm going to use all the time. They then try and modify and elaborate the system that I've created, making it more difficult for them to do. They ultimately turn it into another project that they need to complete. Don't do that. Grab whatever notebook is closest to you. I don't care if it's already got shit in it. Then get yourself a pen that works. And that is it. That is all you fucking need. So you should have zero reason to not do this tonight. The simpler it is, the more likely you are to actually do it. Set a timer for 10 minutes before you go to bed this evening and do the 3 stages. Wins, brain dump, kill list. That is it. Do it tonight. I guarantee tomorrow morning, you're going to wake up with something that you haven't had for years, and that is clarity. So now that you know my best hack for ADHD entrepreneurs, which is the daily debrief that externalizes your thinking and gives you clarity every day, there's something else that nobody tells you. You can have the perfect clarity about what needs to be done. You can wake up with your kill list ready to go, and your brain will still sabotage you. Because there is a hidden pattern that causes ADHD entrepreneurs to sabotage and abandon every goal they set. And it's a specific neurological pattern that I've seen play out so many times for the hundreds of clients that I've worked with. And I break that down here, where I tell you how you can override this and avoid abandoning your future goals so you can see success in your business. Give it a watch, and I'll see you there.